Hello, everybody. Today is day 9 of 10 days of Christmas for a healthier holidays. And today is super important. You definitely do not want to miss this one. It is about stopping your cravings dead in their tracks. Okay, this is a really easy process to do. There's more involved. But first, I want to, when you do this, I want to hear the experience that you have. And then right now, I'm just going to kind of quick go over the human behavior cycle, and then we'll go into the technique. Okay, so first, I want you to be aware, I kind of talked about a little bit in the previous videos, but there is a human behavior cycle that we all go through, which is normal. So we have to normalize what's actually happening. So what happens is there's an event or a trigger, right? So the triggers is what I'm really working on, and then reframing the thought process because it's the beginning of the process. Remember, in earlier videos, we talked about how habits are later in the process. This is the very beginning of the process where an event or a trigger occurs, which then kicks in the brain, of course. The brain's like trying to interpret all this information, which then is the thought process, right? And then the thought process could be a bunch of things. I mean, you're thinking about the food, or it's the stress of an event, which is kicking in the comfort eating cycle. Okay, there's a lot of stuff that's going on here, but these are what's triggering the cascading event to follow. Okay. You don't figure out that, it's really easy to relapse. Okay. So then we have the thought process, which we talked about earlier, and then it turns into this feeling, right? Because everything that we think about turns into like an actual feeling inside of our body, whether it's a fuzzy feeling, a warm feeling, a stressed feeling. Something is happening on a physiological level inside of our body. Okay. So we've got an event or a trigger, which is a thought process, which then turns it into a feeling inside of our body. And then we do the next step, we act on that, right? So we decide whether or not we're going to pick path A or path B. Okay, sounds easy enough, right? But it's more complicated than that. But that's basically how this works. Things get in the way of that thought process because we have a subconscious mind that is essentially ruling the roost, since it does 80 to 90%, depending on who you talk to, of the actual decision making. Okay, so that's the one that we need to start tapping into, not the conscious brain. Okay, so here's the technique. I want you to think of your nemesis, right? The thing that really, really would love to stop eating completely. Okay. So most people can bring up a visual representation of this item. So we're talking about the people who can do this. And you might need to practice a little bit for some people who don't know what I'm talking about, but when you think of your favorite food or something, a visual image will come up in your mind's eye. Okay, so I want you to bring up that image of that really tasty, sweet, or salty object that you just don't want any more of. And I want to rate your cravings from 1 to 10, 1 being, not much of a craving at all, to 10 being I absolutely have to have it now. Okay. So I want you to rate that craving, jot it down. And now I want you to rate that craving. I want you to make that craving even worse. Okay. I want you to think about what it smells like. Maybe there's sounds in the kitchen of it being made, or opening up a potato chip bag. Some people have auditory and some people don't in their mind's eye. I want you to think about how it feels in your mouth, anything that's going to make that experience more powerful for you. And now rate it again, because you want this to be higher. Okay, so now what you're going to do is you're going to take that image that's in your mind's eye and you're going to make it black and white. Now I'll give you a second to do that, because some people can do it right away like that, and some people need to fight with it a little bit. Okay. For some reason you're fighting with it, push it away from yourself. So you're going to push that image of that tasty treat away from yourself. The color may automatically start to fade. If it doesn't, and you're having troubles with color, make the color go away. So at this point, it should be black and white, or at least muted, and farther away from you. And then I want you to check in to feel how much you want that food now. So usually, like only one out of 10 people have an issue with this. So most people, their cravings are either completely gone or vastly reduced. So it only took a matter of seconds to do that. And as you get used to it, it really takes just seconds for you to control that inner craving that's happening on the spot. So you can give space between your subconscious and your conscious mind. And that's going to start to rewire it as you habitually do it. Remember, there's no such thing as one and done. There's absolutely no way you can change a habit by doing something once. Okay, you have to do it repeated times. Otherwise, your subconscious brain is, I mean, it's been thinking about this and it has a link to it in your neurology for a long time. So we need time to take time to make a habit. So it takes time to break a habit. Sometimes though, people, it is rare, but I have noticed some people they can get rid of cravings immediately and they don't crave that food at all anymore. Okay. It does happen. It just depends on our brains. Our brains are all different. So we can't put everybody into a little box. If for some reason you still want it, like it's still high enough where you want it, I want you to count to 90 seconds, forward or backwards, whatever is good. If you're alone, you do it out loud. So that also gives your brain, it brings your conscious brain into the loop while drinking a glass of water. So we're trying to reprogram the brain and how it's thinking, what it actually wants, because we want to get rid of that impulse to go and eat. And then we're giving it something that it might actually need, which is water, right? We're actually giving it something. So the habit starts to break pretty quickly. All right. But again, humans are not all the same. We do not fit nicely in these little boxes. So if for some reason you still want it, I want you to eat it. Okay. The dysfunction comes from you forcing yourself not to eat the food because you think you shouldn't have it. That is the worst thing that you can do for binging, overeating. The relationship with food is shot at that point. So, and that is what we need to heal. Okay. So eat it without guilt. You may feel a little guilty at first, but again, with repetition, it goes away and then freedom comes out. So I want you to try this and I want you to try it consistently for a week. And I want you to let me know how it goes, your experiences, maybe some kind of roadblocks that you get into so I can walk you through it. Again, rate your cravings, black and white, and push it away. If you still want it, count to 90 seconds, preferably out loud, while drinking a glass of water. If you still want it, eat it. It will still break the desire to have it as much as you want it, and it will eventually go away. Okay, everybody's different. Again, some people might take a little longer, some people might do it right away. Totally depends on your physiology and how long you've been struggling with it and all the deep things that are going on underneath the surface. So please, this is powerful stuff. So please try it. And if you want, I'm going to have these videos up for about another week after I get through the whole 10 days. So feel free to share this series with your friends, especially this video. If you're having any issues at all, I can welcome you to doing a 15-minute consultation call with me to figure out what's going on. So again, day 9, we got one more day left tomorrow. And tomorrow is quick and easy ways to reduce stress. Less stress is less cortisol. Less cortisol is less fat storing. So yay. All right, everybody, enjoy it. I want to hear from you. I want to hear the power of this technique. There's more involved at the beginning to truly get rid of it all, which is the triggers and events, which is what I do all this stuff, but we have to look at the triggers and the events that are cascading this whole thing. But this technique will get you started and moving forward, especially through this tricky holiday season. So again, this is Erika with EG Wellness, Body and Mind Transformations, and happy holidays.